Hi guys, welcome back to another Halftone Productions live stream. We're talking about our latest campaign, Super RBA Battle Armor Issue 4, Lady of Light. Tonight I am joined by the creator of Super RBA Battle Armor, Bradley Aiden. Bradley,
Hello.
welcome. How you doing, man?
Always good to be here, man.
Awesome. Obviously the Kickstarter launched on Saturday, and
Yep.
it's been a really strong start to the campaign. How are you feeling about it all at the moment?
Oh man, I'm so excited. We're already like 40% way to being funded. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's been a really strong start, and it's been a really exciting time getting this one ready. It's been a lot of obviously I've been behind the scenes and watching the project come to life, and reading the script and seeing Lewis's art progress throughout the pages that we've got ready, and seeing it come to life has been really exciting. There's a lot of payoff coming in issue. I feel in this issue. I feel sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, like, look, go and check it out. It is a awesome comic. It's currently running on Kickstarter. Obviously, we're talking about it tonight here on Halftone Productions YouTube channel. I will drop the link into the comments section. But if you've got any questions for myself or Bradley, please jump on and ask. We are not afraid to answer them, and we're excited to talk about the project. Before we do that, yep, that's in there now. So just hit that link and go and check it out. We're going to do a little bit of run through and talk about the project itself on Kickstarter. And I'll bring that up right now. There we go. Here we are. I'll bring it up a bit bigger so we can actually all see it. I feel as though we can't see it at the moment. There we go. All right, so the campaign is currently sitting on $730 of a target goal of $1,999, with 15 backers, and we've still got 25 days to go. Like I said, we are only in the first week of the campaign, so still plenty of time to back it if you're interested in getting the comic or picking up and grabbing the rest of them. If you're new to the campaign, new to the comic. But I'll hand it over to Brad now, and he can talk about the project whilst I scroll through.
No worries. So, issue 4, Lady of the Light, is, like you said, an accumulation of obviously the last 3 issues. But there is going to be a really cool payoff in this issue for oh my god, sorry, for long-time readers and new readers alike. And we're finally getting to see more of the superpowers of our main cast as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it really is. Like any good story, you're obviously building towards a bigger plot, and I think that with this one, there's been a progression of build up to this situation they're going into, they're being thrusted into. Again, we've experienced that in the first issue with a tease of what's to come, and kind of we've been inching towards that closely throughout the series. How has that been for you writing that, Brad? Because the process in that in itself can be very, I guess, it can be strenuous, but it also can be a little bit nerve-wracking because obviously you're trying to not give everything away at once.
Yeah, I've been honestly, I love foreshadowing in the comic and leaving little Easter eggs or little hints for people that are paying attention to like the tiny little details.
Yeah.
I'm not too fussed about people knowing things that are going to be coming up in the future and like theorizing about things, but I've been dying to get to this chapter for a little while now, and it feels really good to have finally see it coming to life.
Yeah. And for me, watching it all come, like I said at the start, it's really cool to see it from when we started. We rebooted the project back in, I think it was I'm going to say it was
20,
2017,
actually, I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Sorry, we started working on it in 2017 for the reboot when it came across to Halftone Productions, and
Yep.
kind of watching it all, and like obviously it's a lot difficult when you are a writer or you're an artist, one or the other, but you can't do both yourself. So you've got to build towards that. And I think the process in building this one for you has been it's been strenuous without a doubt, because you had to go back and reboot it. And I think having you on board with Halftone Productions has been really exciting, because I've been able to watch you progress throughout the series, and for me that is really cool, because from my perspective, like being a creator and writer, I just go through the motions, but having someone else on board to be able to do that's fun. I really enjoy watching a project come to life that I get to oversee and work on, where little amount that I do with whatever it may be. So that for me has been a really, really enjoyable process. I think that the process of this. Sorry, you go.
It's all right. I was just gonna say, like the progress of rebooting it. It was really hard and stressful at the beginning. But once I'd finished the first chapter, it all kind of just started rolling from there.
Yep.
I was able to streamline things, reorganize some plot points, and ultimately I feel like it flows a lot better than the original that I had written up. And like you said, or like I said earlier, sorry, it's been a long time coming just to get to this point, even from the original iteration of the comic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, from where it came from prior to coming over to Halftone, I feel it was a different story, and now that we're really at the same point you're at before it rebooted, it feels as though you've had that chance to kind of go back and reassess it all, and really structure it properly from a writing aspect to how you kind of want to run with it. And I think that's the great thing about having Lewis on board, is that Lewis is very talented in what he does, and bringing that project forward to him as well. It's kind of brought your writing to life, which in most cases that's what it does for a comic book, because it's sequential art. So you're going through the project itself, the story. We've got the story here, and I'm going. Whoops, that's not right. We've got an awesome cover there that Lewis has created for the this issue, which features two of our main characters dueling, which is always fun.
Cool.
And then we go down to the synopsis for this issue. Just give us a bit of a run through of that, Brad.
Yeah, man. So like I said earlier, issue 4, Lady of the Light, continues the anime-inspired comic, following Eclair while she tries to find answers to her brother's disappearance and potential murder. We get a glimpse at her past and even BA's true name. And then we check in on Infector to see how he's dealing with Insanus finally allowing him to use his powers for the betterment of someone else, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
He's a very paranoid man.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can speak from experience there. So going further down into this, you've got the awesome display of all the artwork from previous issues. Here we have the sorry, my audio is playing up. So yeah, you've got all the covers here from issue 4 to issue 1, which are Lewis's artwork. Again, like, I really do push it with the covers, I feel, but I think that we get the best result from them. I know which probably 1, 2, maybe the last 3, we've had 2 different versions of the cover. Each time from memory. Yeah, you've kind of had a concept, and then I've had a concept, and kind of bounced off each other what we wanted to do.
I still love the scrapped cover for issue 2. So pretty.
Yeah, well, it ended up getting used. We used it for a print. It's not that they go unused. I think it's just the I
better
guess,
utilized elsewhere.
yeah, from a marketing perspective, I guess that my westernized influence in comic books and your Asian influence, I guess Eastern influence from comic books
Yeah.
is completely different. So, like when I see a comic, it has to be action packed and it kind of draws you into what you're looking at. Whereas, I do know now more so from reading a lot more manga that is a really different style in their cover art,
Yeah.
which really surprised me because I thought, sorry, you go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like a lot, like you were saying, I guess they're a lot more subdued, or
Mm,
even are more like character pieces,
yep.
like what we've got for issue 1, where it's showcasing all the
Mm,
characters, and then issue 3 is kind of a midway point
yep.
where it's not necessarily action, but it's definitely pulls you in, and there's the intrigue of what's going on with like a Frankenstein-esque
Mm,
um, motif. I don't know what word I was after.
yeah. I think like the covers speak for themselves now. The other ones, obviously, they were. I guess we kind of agreed to disagree on the covers there, and I
I
think.
mean, issue 2 was probably the big one. Going forward, since then, we've been pretty much
Mm,
um, on the same page ish.
yes, yeah, it's definitely been and that's the creative process though. Like,
Yeah,
I think with a lot of mine, I go through thumbnails where I'll do 4 thumbnails of at least what the one issue's cover, and it's kind of it really hurts your head after a while because you're sitting there contemplating which is going to work and which isn't going to work, and that's from a marketing perspective as well. That's not just from thinking what's going to look cool. I want to know that it kind of grabs people's attention and they kind of see a part of the story that is being interpreted in that. And I know that we did that with your covers, and I understand that that you need that kind of storytelling in a cover.
yeah.
It's really important to kind of convey because people do. The old saying is "Don't judge a book by its cover." But the
But everyone
reality of it
does.
is, but everyone does exactly. So what we want to do is we want to really make sure that people understand the story and they're looking at it. And I think with the 4 covers that you have here, it really does relay that. And as we continue to go on, like obviously there'll be another issue this year, and we're looking at a trade for these. Spoilers, of course. They're going to be new. There's going to be new covers. We are going to do more covers, and we're obviously going to have to sit down and talk about more the kind of way we go with them. And that, like I said, that's part of the process of creating comics. It's half the fun, and I mean the cover itself. It's so rewarding seeing it up there. Like you go scroll back to the here, and you've got the cover popped up there. It really is something you get to see that, and then when it's printed, it's a whole other world. Like that day you
Yeah.
get the box of books and you open it up and they're all there, and it's kind of like it's such a rewarding feeling for all that hard work you've put in.
Dude, like the first thing I do when I crack open a box is
Mm,
I read my own comic. And it's just, even though I've been working on it for hours, like lettering
mm.
it, and I'm sick of looking at it on the computer, as soon as I get it in my hand, I'm just like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it really is. Like it's fun. I don't go to the extent that you go to with reading it because I actually resent my own work by the time that it's printed. I'm sick of looking at it. But the cover is another situation. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, cool, the cover's fine. I'm happy to look at that. But it's the inside pages. I'm usually, I don't want to look at them anymore. I've seen them enough. Thank you very much.
I suppose
Um,
it is a bit different because you spend double the amount of time that I would on a comic page.
yeah.
Or more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm currently working on that process with the apparition, and I can tell you right now that it's tedious at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is quite a challenge to work out what you're going to interpret in that cover. That cover is really important for relaying your message to what your story is to people who will judge a book by its cover and will jump onto the Kickstarter or buy the book just for the matter that it's actually it has a cool cover and it
Yeah.
has a great cover that tells a story. Going further
Conflict between
down.
siblings.
So we've got sample pages here of Lewis's artwork along with the lettering that you have quickly done up here. We
Yes,
quickly
artwork
slapped
not
this
final.
together. No, it's not. We quickly slapped this together to get it ready for the Kickstarter because we are actually producing this after the Kickstarter is completed so that we can pay our artists to produce the artwork, which is really important. That's part of the reason why we bring our comics to Kickstarter, is to get them funded via publishing and also to pay the artists that are involved in the campaigns themselves.
Yeah.
So again, this is Lewis's artwork along with Brad's writing and lettering. How does it feel lettering? I know you have been doing yours for a while now, but obviously we've been going through the processes of teaching you the programs a little bit more and learning a few other techniques amongst what you may already know. How's that gone for you?
Yeah, I mean, like the start, as anyone knows, with Adobe products is a bit of a learning curve. Oh, hey, Stephen. And it's definitely gotten a lot easier the more I've done it. I still occasionally will get stuck with one tiny thing that I want to do with a page or a bubble or something, and I'll sit there for like probably 2 hours and then give up and go watch a tutorial or try and find a tutorial, and then worst case scenario I just pester you. But thankfully I haven't needed to do that that much lately, which is good. But yeah, no, it's definitely it was a big learning curve. Because I used to use a separate program altogether, which was Clip Studio, which on paper looks pretty much the same, but there were a few things that were different. Shortcuts were different, just all like tiny little things, and that I'd gotten ingrained into my process, which I then obviously had to unlearn and then relearn in a different program. But
I think the process in using Adobe InDesign is that the typesetting that you're using is it's a lot more generous to a letterer, and I think the lettering, like you can see in the pages here, even still, it does give that balance for your kerning and your leading. So that's important when it comes to the actual, the finished product as well. We want to make sure that we're giving a really great lettering system in there so people can read it and follow the text along the story. So that's really important with most comics and a lot of comics. And, we're going through the process now of doing one of my first comics. We're re-lettering that because the lettering is horrendous in that. And
it's not that bad.
It's pretty bad, I will admit. It's pretty craptacular, if I'm going to be honest. And that in itself is a huge process. I know that I've stepped away from the lettering side of it now, and I don't miss it. I can honestly say I do not miss the lettering. I do it for a living, and last thing I want to do is come home and letter in my own stories. So I'm glad I've passed the buck to yourself, and we've got Graham as well that's on board, and he does a lot of our work too. So that's shared between you guys, which is kind of it's good for me because I don't have to worry about lettering ever again. But yeah, it's really cool to see it kind of come to life. As you know, we only got 5 pages here, but it is cool to see the pages that Lewis has been able to do, and you've been able to letter. And then we've got this nice little double page spread, which I'm always a sucker for when it comes for that kind of artwork in a comic book, anything like that. So that's really cool. So that's a preview of the first, well, technically not first 5, but the first 5 pages that Lewis has illustrated for Super RBA Battle Armor issue 4. I nearly said 5. Issue 4, Lady of Light. Go and check it out on Kickstarter, guys. It is now live. You can pick it up and support this independent comic. So we're going to go through for the fans now. So influences that you have actually read and watched that kind of bounce off this series. Give us a bit of a run through of that, Brad.
I mean, there's obviously a metric ton more of what that we've just listed on the Kickstarter.
Yep.
But I consume an unhealthy amount of anime and manga, and most, if not all, I would say that I take inspiration, even just like you were saying before, taking on the lettering. Been looking at the way a lot of the translated manga letterers are doing their jobs on like the big mainstream stuff, and essentially just taking notes and stealing ideas for like design aspects and whatnot. But I mean, the more recent ones I'd say would be like what I've listed on here: Tokyo Ghoul, My Hero Academia, Bleach. One Piece is a big one, which I forgot to put in there. And even like the Marvel Spider-Man animated series and some of their comics. As well as like the spin-off ones like Spider-Gwen, and actually it's just Spider-Gwen. I've only read Spider-Gwen.
That's not a bad thing. Spider-Gwen is great.
No, Spider-Gwen was pretty good.
Yes.
And then like some of the more of like your animated movies like Big Hero 6. Trying to think of more Western ones.
But even without the Western side, it is heavily manga and Eastern style comic book. And like when we first became friends, like going back and thinking about it, like the comics that you were trying to get me to read, and vice versa, I was trying to get you to read Western comics. I think that like for me, the biggest one that you introduced me to was All You Need Is Kill, which is by far one of my favorite manga comics.
Really,
and more recently, I've read Tokyo Ghoul, which I love. Again, I read Dragon Ball Z. I guess I'd grown up with Dragon Ball Z because of the cartoon, but I'd also read some of the manga later on down the track after I'd finished the series. And you know, I honestly do love manga, apart from the reading it backwards, which is, you know, it's backwards.
I mean, some of the older what's the word? The older manga that was brought over, like I'm talking maybe like 10, maybe earlier, maybe 15, 20 years ago. Okay. They did actually flip it all. But that kind of, so what they do is they'd flip the entire image and then lay out the panel, like the bubbling and everything, for Western audiences. However, they ran into a few issues with that, like blowback from some of the creators, because essentially they were changing the work without their permission. And sometimes something as simple as flipping a page can be quite big to a sequential art, which was really interesting when they actually just decided to bring it out as it was just translated. So I wouldn't be surprised if you read Dragon Ball left to right as opposed to the traditional right to left.
You've got me thinking now, and I'm trying to remember back to it. Quite possibly might have been that way.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dragon Ball Z was,
I used to read. I sat down and read one of them in a bookstore once. I don't know if anyone remembers Borders, but Borders bookstore used to be massive in Melbourne, and they would be there, and you kind of would go in there and read the book and then have a coffee. But you're allowed to. That was such the weirdest thing about it, was you could kind of do that. But I think I did that once. I kind of got sucked in and I kept reading it. I was like, oh my God, I've never read this book. So I ended up buying it, of course, but I don't know, it got lost in transition or something. But that's all right. That happens. So yeah, that's some of your influences, which is really cool. I like to really touch on that when we talk about the comics because that is important to anyone who creates
Yeah.
comics. There are influences that will help them create the stories they're telling. They're familiar with anything on the Halftone Productions label. We're all influenced by what we do, what we've read, and what we've grown up with. Scrolling down further in the campaign, we've got rewards. Now, the rewards here, we've got a stack of stuff that you can get on offer for this Kickstarter. Some stuff that we've never done before for Super RBA Battle Armor, and some of the returning items from the previous Kickstarters. First up, we've got the Tier 1, which is the digital edition of Super RBA Battle Armor. So if you're someone who enjoys reading it on a tablet rather than a physical copy, or you don't want to pay for shipping, $5. I mean, that's pretty cool right there. You can grab that one. Second tier is the physical printed edition. So you'll get a signed copy from Bradley sent to you. $8 plus shipping. It's really cool for anyone that's a collector that really does enjoy getting indie comics and reading them in their physical form. Which,
I really like the physical quality of our books as well. Like, I know everyone says that and it sounds a bit wanky, but the quality of our books is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's somewhere between like your floppies and kind of even resembles like a bit of some of the bigger size manga issues as well, which is cool.
And and that was the great thing about going to our printer that we use now, who is a locally based printer here in Albury Wodonga, but kind of sourcing them out and seeing how close we could get them to the Western comics. I think that was before you came on board for Halftone Productions, but it was kind of, I wanted it to be authentic as possible. I know that I'll never get bang on because what they use is a very different style of stock in America that's not available here in Australia. So it was about getting as close as we possibly could, which we successfully did. And yeah, it's quite a I think it's a little bit of an achievement because people do comment on our comic books saying how well they're presented, but also saying that how great they feel in physical format. They actually feel like they're getting a comic book from a comic store that was printed from the distributors in America. So that's something that's really important to me. I want to have that authentic feel that you kind of, it takes you back to a time when you're a kid, when you used to read comics, and we have achieved that. So that's really important. Scrolling down further, we've got Tier 3, which is the $15 bundle, which includes a physical copy of issue 4 and also the script from issue 4. Brad, this little package here, just give a bit of detail on the script and what's involved with that and what they get.
It may or may not resemble the final product, which which I think is really cool. Like, when I read your scripts and then see the final product after I've lettered it, it's really interesting to see what gets left on the chopping room floor, sort of thing. It kind of gives you a bit of an insight into, I guess, what was originally planned and what needed to be cut out to make the issue flow a lot better.
Yeah.
Even slight changes to dialogue and things like that. Personally, I find that really interesting.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that like your first cut of your anything and I take it from Scorsese when he makes a film that it always, the first cut of his film always made him sick. The script that you're getting, the script that you're getting is not the first edit of it. You're probably getting the second or third. In most cases, with me, it's the third edit. And by that stage, it's nearly gone a fourth round because when it goes to the letterer, there are things that get changed that might not feel right, or the paneling changes. Like right now, working on the apparition, after we're finished here, I'll go and do some changes when it goes to digital format. I'm going to change up some of the panels because I don't feel like they're doing any justice. They're not really enhancing the story. They feel like they're almost a filler. So changing those kind of things is actually is part of the process, and I think that's really cool. Like you've explained that what gets left on the floor by the end of the process. So that's really cool for people to pick up. I think that's if you are interested in it. I know with my previous campaigns having a script reward that it does get picked up a lot. I think for the most recent one we did, we've had 10 people pick up the script bundle. So, which is really cool. And you'll come signed as well, so you're getting a signed script as well. Something for those collectors out there also. Excuse me. So going further down, tier 4. 16, which includes issue 4 and also the previous 1 to 3 issues of Super RBA Battle Armor. So the Digi collection.
So don't worry,
again,
you haven't picked up any of the others. We got you covered.
That's it, exactly. So you get all of them digital format if you're a tablet reader, which is a really cool bundle. Further down, we've got a Tier 5, which is $20, you'll get the printed edition of Super RBA Battle Armor and a Susan A4 poster with a signature from the creator, which is a really cool bundle. Anyone that likes a bit of Susan in their life and also enjoys a poster in whether their studio or their house, definitely check that one out.
Plus, it's a really good conversation starter.
Mm-hmm. It is. It really is.
What the hell is the bucket on your wall?
Exactly. Scrolling down further, now this is the first time for Super RBA Battle Armor. It is
very excited
enamel pin. We're doing a Susan enamel pin, and I'm really excited about this one because it's obviously an enamel pin and it's obviously of my favourite character from the series. And you will also receive a printed edition of Super RBA as well. And a signature in the comic too from Bradley. This is really exciting. We've done a lot of pins with Halftone Productions. We've done a lot with Talking Bread and In Purgatory, and more recent with Apparition, and a few other little pins we've done on the side. But also now we're going to jump in and do it with Super RBA, and it's going to include Susan. So these are limited to 100, and once they sell out, that's it. That won't be done again. So definitely, if you're keen on getting an enamel pin, definitely get this one. It's well worth the money. And our friends at Collab Merch will be getting these organised for us. Excuse me. Tier 7, which is the retail bundle. We've sold a few of these over the campaign, which is exciting. A few new retailers really from overseas. We're really excited about getting those guys to have our comics in their stores. It's really cool if you're a retailer and want to stock a few comics of ours. Definitely hit us up on either Kickstarter or social media to get them in there. You can get these ones as well, and there is an option for you to get the others in later down the track. Further down, we've got the tier 8 for $40, which includes the collection of comics, which from 1 to 4, and you'll also get the Susan enamel pin, and all the comics will come signed from the creator, which is Bradley.
That's me.
That's you. And then further down, we've got tier 9. Tier 9 is the digital bundle for Halftone Productions. So you'll get Super RBA Battle Armor issue 4, plus the previous issues from 1 to 3. It'll include Talking Bread from issue 1 to 6. Rise the Talking Bread, which is our anthology one-shot. And then you'll also get In Purgatory 1 to 6, which is an ongoing series at the moment. All are Halftone Production comic books, and they are also available via this Kickstarter. So if you're interested in that and you also enjoy digital copies, then you want to read them on a tablet, this is definitely the one to choose. Scrolling further down, we've got our last two tiers here. Tier 10, which is $100 for the Halftone Production bundle. So like I said just then, with the digital bundle, you'll receive Super RBA issue 1 to 4, Talking Bread issue 1 to 6, Rise the Talking Bread anthology, and In Purgatory 1 to 6. Really cool bundle if you're new to Halftone Productions and you just want to pick up a few of our stories.
Pretty much.
Basically, you're going to get everything, which is really cool. And we thank you for that. These are limited. Talking Bread is about to run out of production, so we're about to... There'll no longer be any floppies left. We're going to trade with that one. So if you were interested in grabbing the single issues, now is the time. And finally,
really
we have...
Just before... the really cool thing about the Rise of the Talking Bread anthology is that it's a big collection of a bunch of different Aussie creators.
That it is, and it also includes you in there.
It does. It does.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so it actually has Brad wrote a story that was illustrated by Matt Kime, which is a returning.
Very good French.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Matt Kime did another one.
I think that's Yep, I screwed that up. Sorry, my bad. So Logan, who is a recent guest on obviously Super RBA Battle Armor, and then you've got In Purgatory. He's been a guest artist on that, and he's also been a guest now on Talking Bread. So check that out, guys. If you want to grab that bundle, it's a really cool bundle, and you get all the Halftone Productions comics. And finally, tier 11, $2.99. This one is $299, not $2.99, $299.
Big one.
I feel like a salesman when I have to read the prices. We have the Cameo bundle. So this is a pretty exciting one. Now, this includes a cameo within issue 4 of Super RBA Battle Armor. You will be illustrated and includes the original art. So you're going to get the original art from the creator, and will be signed from the creator, and it'll also be from the illustrator as well, which is really exciting. So it also includes the script. You'll get the physical copy of Super RBA Battle Armor issue 4, the digital copy of Super RBA Battle Armor 4, plus the Halftone Productions bundle, which will include the previous issues, Talking Bread, and In Purgatory. And you'll also get a Susan poster and a Susan enamel pin. There you go. So that's a really cool bundle if you want to ever want to be in a comic book, ever wanted to be in a manga comic book.
That's it.
Which is even more exciting. So definitely one. It's a limited reward. I think you have already sold one of them.
There's only one left.
There's only one left. So guys, if you really want to get that one, jump on it now. It probably will not last. They are always popular ones that go really quickly. Okay, so that's all the rewards. If you're interested in getting any of them, definitely go and check them out on Kickstarter. The link is in the conversation to your right, to my right, your
up,
left,
down, left, wherever it is.
It's screens confuse me sometimes. But from that, we're going to jump down to our add-ons. And here we've got, so you can actually go on and add things that you might have seen in the rewards, but weren't in a bundle. Kickstarter have made it really easy for you now. So check that one out. Further down, we've got our stretch goals. Stretch goals, we've got 3 of them. This is one. 3 that will, excitingly, we've already organised, and we're looking forward to kind of unlocking these. So we're still early in the campaign, so we're hoping that we can reach these goals. The first one I think we'll talk about tonight is going to be a really cool digital rewards bundle.
Yep.
Which will include an array of digital comics from many creators that we know in the industry who have generously swapped their comics with ours for their projects. And it also gets their stories and our stories out to a larger audience, which is also really important. So that's the first stretch goal. That's going to include 5 comic books. 2 of them are trades, to mention, and the rest of them are single issues. So there's well and truly a bundle of comics coming your way if we unlock the first stretch goal.
Yeah.
So definitely help get this, share it, support it. We all do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll unlock that stretch goal. Here we go. We've got characters for people familiar with the series. These characters are returning. We've met them before. We know where the story's going, but you can see there from the images that we have. Creative team, Brad.
That's me.
Creative team. Don't worry.
All right. So
just run through the first 2.
All right. Well, the first one is myself. I've been doing comics for probably 6 years now, I think. I know it feels like it's going really quick. Started writing stories and stuff while I was sick in hospital with a chronic heart condition, which unfortunately I still have. And use that as an escape to essentially get out of my own head in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I do, like we mentioned earlier, all the script writing, all of the lettering, and I guess you'd call it creative director sort of work, where I will give Lewis both the script and a guide of what I want each page to look like, and then back and forth a few times, and we get the artwork looking all schmick and running pretty coherently. At least I hope so. And if there is any issues, it's generally on my end, not on Lewis. He's pretty perfect. Moving on to Lewis. He's our artist. He's located in Bolivia. He's been illustrating for years upon years now, and has won a couple of really cool international manga competitions. And it really shows in his work the amount of effort and time that he's put into honing his craft.
Yeah.
And I know you said to skip ahead, but then we've got
skip ahead. No one is that. Nah. All good. Everyone knows who I am. That's fine. That sounds cocky, but no one needs to hear my story again. Going on to funding. So this campaign obviously will assist in the publishing of Super RBA Battle Armor. It helps us get it off the ground. It also helps us pay Lewis, because this process isn't easy. Creating independent comic books isn't easy at all. We need ways to get it funded, so it's always important to help support independent comics. It doesn't matter who it is. It's actually a really supportive community, and that's something that I'm really proud of being a part of. And I know a lot of creators support the projects that we create, and likewise we back their projects. So, this is a breakdown to give you an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes with it. There's no shady business going on. There have been Kickstarters in the past that have done dodgy things, which we have not done. We always try to aim for our, get our target audience and get it out to them and make sure the funding is going purely back to the Kickstarter, which it always does. There are always sometimes there's some postal errors, which happens. We can't help that, but we always try to make sure we make up for it in the long run if someone doesn't receive their reward. But funding, there's a breakdown there of it. It's where it's all going. It's where the funds go to after the comic has been published and printed. And then there's a bit of a rundown on packaging and handling, because in the past we have had issues with unfortunately postal services destroying the packaging that we put it in. So we really take extra care now with packaging our products. They get bagged and boarded, and they also get put in between cardboard to make sure they don't receive any damage in postage, plus going into our tough, resilient bags that we've ordered. So a bit of a process in that. We'll place the orders when the campaign's finished. We'll get all your details. Once the comic is printed and all the actual other merchandise is being produced, we'll be sending those out. So you'll receive updates quite frequently on how it's all going with publication and printing. And then again, once the mail out has begun, you'll receive notification of that. And then we've got some testimonials. So this is not our first Kickstarter campaign. This is definitely not. And it's we've recently transferred our Kickstarter to Halftone Productions. That is our printing label, our publishing label.
Consolidated all.
Yes. So rather than me doing it on mine and Brad doing it on his, we've just brought it across to one now. Under my belt, I've had 12 successful Kickstarters. Brad's run 2 on this. As you'll see in front of you, we've got our previously funded campaigns. So issue 1 was funded by 104%, and then issue 3 by 119%, which is really exciting. We're really proud of the campaigns we've had and how we've worked hard to get these funded, and that's part of the fun of running a Kickstarter. You really have to work that month to get it funded, and it's really important. And further down, we've got a few reviews, which is really cool to have. And then here we go, we've got other things to remember. So just little things that you may not think of that we've thought of to answer in there. So just read that through. And then we've got some cool artwork by Logan French and some random dude. But that's the campaign in a whole. Obviously, Brad, you've been working on this one since the start of the year.
Yep.
And it's been a long time coming to Kickstarter, and we're finally here now. We don't usually run campaigns on top of each other like this, but with the publication now of getting it out and getting them backed and funded, we've kind of started to push it forward a little bit more. So there's going to be a lot more releases under Halftone Productions. This will be one of our biggest years. I think last year was a big year. I think this year will be even bigger, which is exciting. I think we're taking it to new leaps and bounds from here. And it's important that we keep going forward because people are enjoying reading the stories. I enjoy reading your stories. I think it's...
I enjoy reading your stories, man.
Well, it's part of the fun of creating comics, really.
That's it. It's just sharing stories at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And that's, I think that's the important thing too. Oh, we've just had a new backer. That's exciting. Someone else has jumped on board. Thank you very much for that, Grant. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
One step closer. And that's what I mean. It really is about supporting each other, and that's what we've been able to do with Halftone Productions. There is, like I said, more exciting news coming from the label this year. Obviously, we are working on another Super RBA Battle Armor. That will be later down the track. For now, we've
kind of in the works.
let's get over this one first.
The summary is already set. Let's fix it out later.
Let's get this one finished, then we'll jump onto that one. But we do have other projects in the works at the moment, which is exciting, and we're really looking forward to sharing more with you as they continue. Now, Brad, also, before we finish, you are appearing in a few podcasts and other YouTube live streams in the upcoming weeks for the Kickstarter campaign. Do you just want to give people a run through of where you'll be appearing in the next 3 weeks?
Certainly. I will be on, is it the Comics Tribe podcast? Is that correct? Is that what the title is?
You're hopeless.
I know.
So you're going to be appearing on Unreal. I really hope they haven't seen that. So you'll be appearing on Halftone Effect tomorrow's episode that we released. So my podcast you'll be jumping onto and talking about the project again there. Then you'll also be joining on comics.net.au's YouTube live stream. They'll be doing a live stream on the 13th of May. You'll be on there as a guest talking about your project. And then finally, in the final week, yes, you'll be on the Comics to Movies YouTube page. You won't be on the Comics Tribe, no. Not unless you know something that I don't.
No. I think I'm just mixing things up in my head. Yeah. I apologize.
And then also, guys, what we'll be doing now is we're actually going to be running these once a week for Halftone Productions whilst we've got the campaign running. So Brad and myself will be coming back on next week. We'll obviously put up a post on our social media and YouTube page for you to go and check out. And we'll be talking about the project as it continues to proceed throughout the campaign, which is really important. Hopefully more people will jump on board for it and check it out. And also Brad's appearances on the podcast and the live streams, people will check it out there too, which is really important. We need your help in getting this funded. That's the basis of Kickstarter. It's always been a great tool. It's now in its 11th year. Last year was one of its most profitable years. Last year was one of our biggest years. So it's definitely not going anywhere. Keanu Reeves had a release last year for his comic book, and it was one of the biggest in history for comic books.
How did I not hear about this?
Yeah, you did hear about it. I told you about it. Todd McFarlane did a Spawn figurine, a collector's edition. That was one of the biggest releases for toys on Kickstarter. And then we've got a few others that came on at the earlier this year, which was Power Rangers. Boom did a Power Rangers one, and there's a few more that have been released throughout the year so it's becoming quite the tool. So if you really are really do enjoy Kickstarter and you really do enjoy independent comics, then it really is a great tool to become a part of, and the community is fantastic. So yeah, that's about it for this live stream of your Kickstarter, Brad. Did you want to say anything before we wrap up tonight's
I think we've covered a lot of what we were going to talk about today, but ultimately if you could share and back the project with, share the project with your friends or family, and if you can and want to, back as early as possible. The money won't come out of your account until it is funded at the end of the month.
Absolutely. There you go, guys.
Yeah.
Go. Sorry, you go.
So I was just going to say, and thank you in advance.
There you go, guys. Go and check it out. It is in the comments section here. It'll stay in there once this live stream is finished. Please go and check it out. It is a really cool story. We're really excited to get this out to you all. It's really important that we support each other in the comic books community and get these kind of comic books out there. But again, thank you for joining in. We'll be back again next week with a live stream. Again, myself and Brad will be joining in, and we'll be talking about the comic and how it's progressing throughout the campaign, and obviously the pages as well as they continue to grow. So thank you once again. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram under Halftone Productions, and you can also check out Halftone Productions on YouTube, and that's it. I think I've got it all. It's too many social medias now. Becomes confusing. Okay, cool. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you again next week.